All right, so we are here tonight is Wednesday, March 17th. I'm here tonight with Jesse Garcia from Zander Solutions. And Jesse, we're just going to give people a few minutes to filter in. The event starts at 6:30, so we've got a couple minutes to go. And so if there's anything you want to start doing to acquaint yourself with people, have at it. You can start to introduce yourself if you want, but I'll make you do it again at 6:30.
Sounds good. So, yeah, my name is Jesse Garcia. I've been in the waterproofing business for a couple of years now. The company I work for is Zander Solutions. We have an office in Verona, Wisconsin. That's our main office. We also have one in Pewaukee, and we service a pretty large area. Our primary work is focused around waterproofing, and we do offer several other services. And yeah, that's about the storyline. That's where I come in.
Well,
So
I'll tell you what, I am so excited about this. In the 24 years I've been doing real estate, and people probably get tired of me saying that, but it's a long time. Worked with a lot of buyers and sellers, worked on a lot of different properties. And the main thing that comes up every time is the basement. So people are worried about cracks in the foundation, whether it's the floor or the walls. They're worried about water intrusion. They're always looking to kind of see the walls and the corners when they go and look at a property. And I think one of the things that really interested me, something that you said was that you can, there's different ways that water comes in and how you investigate that and the different suggestions you have for how to mitigate it or, resolve that
absolutely.
issue for people.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. So I guess you and I go back a ways as well.
we do. We've known each other
Yep.
a long time.
Yep.
And you've only continued to do better, which I'm very proud of that.
Yeah. Well, you'll always be the one that sold me my first house.
Yep.
So that's
And that I think too is your background and what you're doing is not just about your business. It's about how you said that you've had experience with this personally yourself. You've worked with this stuff and through these problems in a variety of different ways. And you're going to be talking about that tonight. So with that being said, it is 6:30. I think we should go ahead and get started. So let's kick off this little show. I'm Nancy K. Smith. This is the Real Estate Roundtable. And again, tonight my guest is Jesse Garcia from Zander Solutions. And Jesse, I always start out and ask people to kind of introduce themselves. Do you want to go ahead and do a quick introduction for our guests tonight?
Sure. Yes, my name is Jesse Garcia. I work for Zander Solutions out of Verona, Wisconsin. We offer solutions to water problems in basements, amongst other things. Tonight, we're primarily, I guess, focusing on water in basements.
Yes.
I've been with the company for a little over 2 years. My background in construction is quite extensive. I've been in some form of construction for my whole life, really. So taking this position as Zander Solutions was really nothing new to me, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm happy to be able to come out and help people and solve their problems and remedy their issues. So
Awesome. And your position at Zander Solutions is?
I'm a team leader.
You're a team leader.
Yep.
So you're in on when someone reports that they have a problem or they're looking for an estimate, and you're going to help problem solve it.
Yep. There's a chance that I may even be the one that comes up and does the estimate. We have other people that do that as well. However, when I can and when we get busy, I absolutely get out in the field, come out and do my part, try and solve problems and come up with repairs for them. So
I just think this is going to be such a great topic tonight. So I'm very excited. If you have questions, please enter them into the comments because Dawn's here, my little sidekick, Dawn's here, and she's going to be helping us when there's questions so that Jesse can get those answered. I guess let's just hit it right off the bat. We're showing the property or we've gone to a seller's home. They're thinking about listing, but they have some kind of water intrusion. Where do you start?
So I guess the first place we start is typically a phone call to our office to schedule an estimate. Our people at the office will ask, where's the water located? Is this a finished basement? Ask some of the questions that will help us when we come to your house. After that, when an estimator does show up, generally we're looking for signs of water infiltration. And because we do have quite the background in water infiltration and water problems, we can pinpoint it pretty easily in most cases. We do have some tools that assist with that, such as infrared guns, where we can shoot the wall and try and see what's behind drywall to an extent. But generally we can solve most problems. So
Awesome.
there haven't been too many we haven't been able to figure out yet. So
What's the most common problem when people have water in their basement?
I would say a majority of the work that we run into is cracked foundations or leaky wall ties. Um, Basically, the three ways that water will enter a basement generally are either through the floor, wall floor joint, so from underneath, through a crack in the wall or a wall tie, so that's through, and then over the top. Generally, if the water is coming from the ground, it's hydrostatic pressure. It's pushing water up and finding its way in your basement that way. If it's coming through the wall, it could be a mixture of hydrostatic pressure or rainwater coming down along the foundation on the outside. And then, of course, if it's coming over, usually that means that there's a landscaping or grading issue. So, yeah.
And for me, I would always think it's, oh, the gutters are full,
Right.
but there's so
Right.
much more to it. You've worked on a couple of properties that I was involved in after an inspection when the most common one that I've seen problems with is the cinder block walls that they start to move over time. And so I think in that instance, you guys did something called carbon fiber strapping.
Sure.
And do you want to talk a little bit about that, what that entails?
So yeah, absolutely. We offer structural repair to basement walls as well, and especially with cinder block foundations or CMU block, they tend to move, and when they do, we can correct that using either a carbon fiber strap system, or otherwise we can use power bracing, which is metal beams that we attach to the floor and then the floor joists, the concrete floor in the basement, and the floor joists. And that won't correct the wall, but it'll stop it from moving. So coupled with some sort of drain tile or waterproofing, we can correct that wall to a point to where you don't have to lift your house or do anything crazy. So at a
Right.
reasonable price.
Right.
So,
And I love to, you told me about retro drain tile.
yes.
And I would love you to talk about this because we're starting to see a lot of it. And I think this is a
Absolutely.
great solution as well.
Yeah, many new homes already come with drain tile. A lot of older homes don't have it. So when somebody's thinking about finishing their basement off, I always recommend having drain tile installed, just for the fact that it's kind of twofold. So when we install a drain tile system under the floor alongside your footing, with a drain field surrounding it, being gravel or stone, that water that would typically come up through the floor, the hydrostatic pressure, can't or won't make it through the floor. It'll actually find its way to the drain tile, taking the path of least resistance, and then traveling to a sump crack and being pumped back outside. Now, the twofold part comes in with a product that you can look up, and it's called, oof, shoot.
You're under
uh,
pressure.
Under pressure. So we put the Hydro Channel Plus. I apologize for that. Hydro Channel Plus, and that actually sits on your footer and it runs up the wall. So when we go ahead and concrete the floor shut again, that leaves a small gap for water that might be traveling down the wall to find its way behind the Hydro Channel Plus and then over the top of the footing into the drain tile. So after you finish your walls off, if you spring a leak in your wall or something of that nature, the water still has somewhere to go before it finds its way to the flooring. So it's really the best way to ensure that you're going to keep a good dry basement after it's finished. So I've seen it too often that people do finish their basement, and a year later they have a flood. They have water coming in, and they call us, and it's pretty upsetting. So
Mhm.
in order to try and be proactive, going that route is a good idea.
What about, so do you, what other types of systems, I guess, are there? So we've talked about the cinder block walls that can move, but then you started talking about, that the drain tile and the gutter system, I call it the gutter system, sorry. What else kinds of things do you do for a basement?
So in regards to water infiltration, if the water is coming over the top of the wall, what we can do is we can waterproof the joint basically from your concrete foundation up the wall, maybe a foot or two. And then at that point, the water can't find its way over the wall anymore. That can be coupled with landscaping if possible, and that'll keep the water from coming over the wall. For a crack or a leaky wall tie or something of that nature, we use an injection process. And we actually inject that crack with we have several different products that we can use, ranging from high pressure injections to low pressure injection. We can use a resin, or we can use a poly style injection method. So it really depends on the crack or the situation. But we can inject the crack from the inside. It'll actually force the material all the way to the outside of the wall, which is ideal because then the water can't even make its way into the crack from the outside to begin with. And keeping your basement dry that way. The same with the wall tie. It'll seal it from the inside all the way through. I've seen some people try and put waterproofing on the inside of foundation walls. There's stuff that you can paint on or roll on or spray on to keep your basement dry. However, one of the problems with that kind of product is that moisture actually enters the foundation from the outside. When it freezes and thaws, it destroys the foundation more and more over the course of the upcoming years. And then once you notice the water back in your basement, it's probably going to be a much more costly endeavor to try and correct the situation. Those are our primary waterproofing techniques for a basement. We, not to get too far off topic here, but since we did bring up the carbon fiber straps, a couple more things that we do in the basement is we install window egresses for bedrooms that may be desired or added. That gets your basement up to code. And we also do epoxy or polyaspartic floor coatings. So if you opt to have your basement floor or your garage floor finished and you want something that's going to withstand the test of time and hold up to any kind of water issues you may have in the future, whether it's a plumbing pipe or any of the things that we've talked about already, that's a really good option. I had my garage floor done and Zander Solutions did it. It's an entirely different division. So, it wasn't myself that did it, but it turned out really nice. I'm really happy with it. I got a lot of compliments. So those are some of the things that we can offer for your basement. We also do basement remodels as well. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep.
I have to ask something we see a lot of, and we didn't cover this, so I'm throwing you a real curveball here.
Sure.
Something that we see a lot of is older homes that have the garage in basically what would be the basement. And so they don't have a floor drain, but people are parking in the garage and water and things drip off and eventually starts making its way toward the living area of the basement. What types of solutions do you offer for things like that?
So what we can do in that scenario is we can actually put a trench drain in the garage or a floor drain. And depending on the grade around the house, we can either pipe that out to daylight or we can pump that out. That gets a little bit touchy because it is in a garage and certain areas won't allow that. So it does have to be approved by your local municipality. Yep.
Yeah.
We've had a few of them say that yes, it's absolutely fine, and we've had some of them say absolutely not. So that is an option. But when the garage floor is level with the main living floor, it's kind of limited as to what we can and can't do, short of
Right.
serious surgery. So.
Right. What do you need done? If you're going to go look at somebody's basement, do you give them instructions? Here's what we need you to do when we come for our walkthrough, or do you have any particular?
Not typically. We try and make this as easy as we possibly can for everybody. And basically, I would say 90% of the time we can determine what's going on without having to move furniture or cut drywall out or anything like that. We just did a job where we went out to a house and I knew that there was water issues behind the drywall. I did find a crack in the foundation on one side of the house near the water infiltration area. So I figured that there was some cracks in there. We were able to actually remove the some of the siding on the side of the house easily and look at the foundation and find other issues, which prompted us to open up drywall and actually do some more exploration. And in that case, we found some things that we didn't realize were there, but we didn't start this process out by asking anybody to remove the drywall. So,
Right.
I mean,
And you don't do that without their permission, right? To go further.
Correct. No.
I want to talk too a little bit about, I know you're not able to give people quotes. It's just not possible because we never know what they're talking about or what they really have. But you talked to me about your system and your process of the recommendations that you make to people. And I really liked what you had to say about that. And I want you to share that with people about, the recommendations that you make. You're not really trying to get them to do more than what they really need. Like
Right.
you're just trying to help them solve the problem.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're definitely not a pressure company by any means. So when we come into a home, if we see an issue that's $200 or $300 or $400 repair, and that's what they need, and that's what we feel is the best option for them, we're not going to try and upsell and give them a $10,000 repair.
Right.
In a scenario where I go into a home and I find a crack in a wall, and I know that they're going to remodel a basement, what I'll do is I'll give them the option and suggest that maybe drain tiles should be put in for future possible issues. And I'll explain to them, exactly how I explained to you as to why. But at the end of the day, if they want the crack injected, then that's what we're going to do. And sort of making them aware of the potential hazards ahead if they don't do further, work. That's what we're about. So.
Something else that you told me that I wanted to mention too is that you've delivered information to a group of inspectors at one of their conferences that they had. And so you work with inspectors or engineers and you work with landscaping companies. You're interested in helping get things fixed and resolved to somebody's satisfaction.
Absolutely. This company's been around for a long time. We're actually really the premier waterproofing company in our area. We've been servicing the Dane County and surrounding areas for a lot of years because we've gotten a lot of phone calls from the Milwaukee area. Obviously, it seemed to make sense to go ahead and open up a hub in that area.
Absolutely.
So that hub did become its own store, and we're doing work out that way. It also prompted us to start traveling, and that's why I'm talking to you, because we absolutely come out this way and do a lot of work in the Dodgeville, Platteville, and further out, Cobb. I have an estimate in Cobb coming up here, I think on Wednesday. So we service a large area, and it's by being honest with people, giving them what they need, and just building a good reputation more than anything else. So, yeah, that's what we do.
All right. Well, Dawn says we have a question.
Two questions.
We have two questions. Okay.
Can you give an approximate cost to apply an epoxy to a basement or garage floor, or maybe just cost per square foot?
Can you do an approximate cost to apply epoxy to a basement or garage floor, or possibly cost per square foot?
So it would absolutely depend on what we're trying to accomplish. If we're putting a traffic coating on a garage or basement floor, which does have more flexibility to it. So if you're worried about any kind of water coming up through cracks or cracks in the concrete ever, that may be an option for a homeowner. Or we can do a one-day polyaspartic floor. I'm sure a lot of people have seen that stuff on Facebook and other places. Or if we're doing a two-part system, it really depends on what they're looking for. But I can say that there's other companies that are probably about double the cost of what we are. If we're looking at going with the polyaspartic floor, we're probably going to be somewhere in that $5.50 a square foot, roughly. I mean, there's a lot of variables if,
Right, right.
so.
And I'm going to say from the real estate perspective, when you walk in and see a home that has that in the garage and the garage is meticulous, ding, 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 buyers love it. And it's
Absolutely.
so rare that you see it, but it is so very nice.
Yeah,
So-
well, as soon as they wrapped mine up, my garage is just to park my cars in. But as soon as they wrapped mine up, my fiance went ahead and had me go out and pick up some paint and paint the garage. And now there's a TV hanging in there and new shelves, and so it's almost more of a living space than just to park my vehicles anymore. But absolutely,
Oh, Jesse, you've got the man cave.
yeah, kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
out there it is. So
Okay, we got another question here.
Okay, so we have an older home, cinder block walls, and they're leaking along the side where the driveway abuts. They have been told that there's cracks under the driveway are leaking through the wall. Do you think the driveway would need to be torn out in order to repair?
Okay, could you hear all that? Because we should repeat it just in case other people didn't.
I
So
did.
do you want
I
to
did.
summarize it for everybody before you?
Yeah,
answer?
and I should have probably addressed this a little bit early in the conversation.
Okay.
However, with the CMU block, if a crack does occur or even a mortar joint goes bad in that block on the exterior, water will obviously find its way in. And because those blocks are hollow core, that water itself that you're finding coming into your basement could actually be coming in 6 or 7 feet away from where the water is coming into your basement. And that's because it's filling up those cores and traveling and finding its path of least resistance. So one of the most common ways to try and remedy that, if we don't want to tear a concrete slab out or excavate a wall, would be to install drain tile. And when we install that drain tile, once we remove the concrete, just above the footer, we'll actually drill weep holes in the bottom of the block. That way, when everything is all said and done, those weep holes will allow the water to drain out of the block and get behind the Hydro Channel Plus, find its way to the drain tile and go away, be pumped back outside. So that we can absolutely fix that without tearing out a driveway.
So it's a much more cost-effective way to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Much more cost-effective. And this is just something that people get so terrified of. And water in basements, I mean, they are just absolutely freaked out about it. And I think it's because there's not enough people like you, Jesse, that are telling people how easy it is to fix it. There are solutions, there are ways to do it.
Right.
We got another one.
Yeah, are there warranties?
Oh,
on
do you have
what
do you have a warranty on your work?
Yes, absolutely. We offer manufacturer warranties on the materials, but in order to be the best of the best, Zander Solutions actually implemented their own warranties to include labor and extend warranties out and everything else. So the warranty that you actually get in your proposal is the warranty from us. That doesn't even include the manufacturer warranty on the material.
Okay.
And they're pretty good warranties as well. So they cover materials and labor.
And I
So-
think, that kind of thing is what makes another real important impression on the real estate transaction, especially when a buyer, we discover this thing at the inspection, the seller probably didn't even know what was happening, or they were aware of it and they just thought it was normal. The buyer gets this sense of, I just want to, what's going to happen when I own it? And what if someday I want to sell it? And you want some kind of assurance. So that warranty is really important in that case.
Yep. One thing I should backtrack on, because we were talking about CMU block foundations and water coming in from the outside, is especially in our area here with some of these older homes that have stone foundations. Those are a little bit more problematic in the regards that water can come in from a lot of different areas. So
Right.
it can be a little bit more difficult to waterproof those. Water management is an option, essentially putting drain tile in and allowing for that water to be pumped back out. However, in order to waterproof those foundations, generally what has to happen is the exterior of the foundation is dug up, and then a product called shotcrete is installed on the wall to make a new wall, essentially, so we can waterproof that. That keeps
So
the
is
water
this,
coming in.
when I walk in and I see a rock wall that looks like it has a plaster sprayed on it, is that what that looks like?
No,
No.
well, it would be on the outside. So
It's on the outside. Okay.
Yep. So the visual, I guess, appearance on the inside wouldn't change
Okay,
other than it being dry.
got
So,
it. Got it. I'm gonna talk about a couple other things because I think Jesse's coming back, guys, to the real estate roundtable because there's so many things that we can talk about with him. But you also talked to me about radon systems that you install radon mitigation,
yes. Yep.
and you also talked about insulation. So do
Yes.
you do spray foam insulation?
So yes, we'll do box sills. We'll spray box sills. A lot of people want to keep rodents out and keep some of that cold breeze from coming into their basement. So we do a good amount of that as well. The radon systems, that's probably the biggest reason why I talk to realtors all the time. You know, radon is a huge issue, and it seems to be becoming more of an issue. People are being more aware of it. Obviously, it's the second leading cause of lung cancer in the U.S., and we get a lot of phone calls. We do a lot of realty transactions, you know, with radon systems, and we do our best to try and get these systems installed and get them the post test completed before, you know, obviously the deadline for the realtor.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. So Jesse knows his way through a real estate transaction as a service provider because he has to work with those deadlines. If someone called you for a quote, what do you think they should expect in terms of how soon someone would be out there or calling them?
So we do our best to try and have somebody out within a week. Right now, we're actually a little bit on the busy side with this weird weather we had. Well, I guess the
Right.
snow melt, now the rain. So we are a little bit on the busy side, and we have several other people that are stepping up to try and help us to keep within that you know, week time frame. Occasionally, we do get a little further out, you know, where it's 2 weeks, but we do everything we can to try and get to your house within a week. So
Okay.
some of the easier stuff, such as a crack injection or a wall tie that might be leaking, you
Right.
can also send me a picture with a little bit of information on it. And a lot of times I can quote it out that way as well if it's something that needs to be done soon.
How about a home inspection report? If someone sent you a home inspection report, can you start to troubleshoot from that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so I just want to remind people that whether, Jesse's telling us that we should not be scared of water, because in most cases it can be resolved somehow. And especially if you are looking for, something that's affordable, I think basically, Jesse, you're able to work with budgets, but you're also going to be very honest and upfront about what they need or what they might be able to get away with.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
And so, two, you are able to provide that estimate that someone could use. Let's say a seller had water in their basement. They were thinking about listing. They went and got an estimate from you. They didn't get the work done yet, but they could share the estimate with the buyer and pass that on if the buyer wanted to have the work done. Do you honor the estimate if it goes and changes hands to the buyer?
Absolutely. So the estimate is typically good for 45 days.
Okay.
However, that's only to protect us in case crazy price changes,
Mhm.
occur. I mean, like the price of lumber nowadays.
Mhm.
So, generally there's people that call me, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months down the road, and they say, "Hey, I got this estimate from so and so. Can we still, use it?" And 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes.
Got it. Got it. How about you over there, Dawn? Do we have any more questions?
No, very happy people though.
You have a lot of happy people. You're solving I think you're putting a lot of people at rest here tonight. I knew this would be a big topic, and I think we're going to get a lot of people watching the video afterwards too. So I'm so grateful that you were able to do this with me tonight. It's awesome to work with Zander Solutions. I've done this before. I thought that they were very responsive, very quick, and very amenable to working with our deadlines. So as you said, you work with realtors all the time, and talk to me again about where all you guys are located and your coverage area.
Sure. So our main office is in Verona.
Mhm.
We have an office in Pewaukee. Believe it or not, we've done work in Ohio. We had a big corporation call us because their local people couldn't deal with the particular job.
Wow.
So we went out to Ohio twice, I think, last summer to do some work. So in reality, we'll drive 2 or 3 hours, away from either one of those locations to try and service people.
Okay.
So we travel.
Awesome. So you're covering all of Southwest Wisconsin. You're in Milwaukee, you're in Madison, you're in Minnesota.
We do have a location in Minnesota. It's a commercial location, and we're partnered with another location that does residential work. So it's about the
Wow.
Twin Cities.
Wow. So you guys are kind of all over the place. And I guess I just have to say again, what a relief it is to hear from a professional talking about how it's not as scary as we all think it is. I think we always are scared of the unknown, but especially I know a lot of people that have lived with some pretty serious water issues for a long time, and they just had kind of given up on solving it. But two, I think if you're trying to do it yourself, I don't think water is the kind of thing that you can fix yourself.
Correct. We do run into a lot of situations or scenarios where somebody might pick up a injection kit from a box store or something of that nature, and they attempt it. And I'll be the first to say that when I started doing injections, just to get the feel for it, they weren't the prettiest, they weren't the best, and it takes a lot of practice. Our injectors, they do it every day, day in and day out, so they can gauge where that material is going. And since you're plumbing into a wall, for a homeowner doing it one time, is difficult to really have a good sense of confidence as to whether or not you got it. If you don't get it, then what'll have to happen after that is we may have to actually use a high pressure injection to push past what's already been done and really seal it up. So
Got it.
for the relatively low cost in doing some of this stuff, it would probably be my suggestion to at least have a professional come out, give an estimate, and then make the decision after that.
Right.
Now, another thing I should mention is along with those radon systems, we do vapor barriers.
Oh,
They kind of go hand in hand. And we also install April air dehumidifiers for crawl spaces and things like that. So,
wow.
um,
Vapor barriers are a big, big deal for dirt floors
they are, and I would say
and crawl spaces.
probably 80% of the time, a homeowner doing it themselves. And this is me included when I bought my first house.
Mhm.
It was required that a vapor barrier was installed. This is a long time ago. So I asked what exactly they wanted, and they said you need to put some visqueen down. So I picked up some plastic, I rolled it out, and that was good enough. That's not the proper way to do this. The vapor barrier does need to be taped at all seams. It needs to be wrapped around any kind of obstacles. It needs to be wrapped up the wall and actually sealed at the top. The idea is to contain any gases or moisture and keep it from obviously finding its way into your home. So wherever you have a tear or a slit or something of that nature, it'll find its way through. So,
And one of the things that Jesse's referring to is if you have an FHA loan, a VA loan, a rural development loan, a WIDA loan, they all require that these types of dirt floors or crawl spaces have this barrier for the exact reason that Jesse just stated. So it's really important to have it done right, because the whole purpose of it is for you to be safe in your home. And so I just think this has been very informational. I'm going to ask Dawn one more time. Do we have any questions?
No, we had a couple of comments.
Let's hear the comments.
Someone wanted to say thank you, and that most likely it's going to be calling in the near future.
Oh, hey, we got to get your phone number up here,
And
Jesse.
somebody else
Sounds
said this is fantastic. It's tough to find an honest solution.
It is tough to find an honest solution. That's what I love about Jesse. He's a straight shooter, and I love that you don't try to upsell. That this is, to take advantage of somebody in a situation where they really have fear and they don't know how easy it is to resolve something. That's a great responsibility. So God bless you guys for doing that. Let's talk about how to get in touch with you, Jesse. Tell everybody.
absolutely. So you can reach out to Zander Solutions. You can visit our website. The website is currently partially under construction. There's some good information on there currently, but I would say that within the next couple months, we'll have a lot of really awesome stuff on there. So I would encourage anybody that see this video to go at least check it out. Or if you have any questions pertaining to anything that I've already talked about, you can absolutely call me anytime on my cell phone at 608-732-5596. I answer the phone all the time, and I enjoy
I was
talking to
gonna
people
say,
and
I'm
helping out.
laughing because not many people will give out their personal cell, but go Jesse.
I do, and I even answer my phone at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night when somebody needs it. So
Awesome.
it's nothing private, and I look forward to helping anybody that needs it. So
Awesome. So zandersolutions.com, or please give the phone number one more time, 608-732-5596.
732-5596.
All right, everybody. That's how you get hold of Jesse to get your basement in shape. After they get it all fixed, you fix all those leaky walls and stuff. You guys are you'll paint it too, right?
But we can help with that. We don't paint, ourselves,
You get
but
ready?
yeah, like I said, we have a lot of different companies that we work with and have great relationships with.
Oh,
So
good.
we can absolutely set it up and take care of it from start to finish.
So there you go, folks. Whether you have a leaky basement or you want to get a beautiful coating on your floor for your basement or your garage, or you need a radon system, or you want a sump pump installed, or attic insulation or box sill insulation, this is the guy. You're coming back. You did
Yep.
great.
Sounds good. I look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, hey, Jesse, thank you so much. And thanks, guys, for joining in and watching and for feeding us some great questions. We really enjoyed our time with you tonight. Thank
Thank
you.